Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining, and we'll continue now with how to use the GeoGebra to graph the equation of a function and how to save our work. So after you download the GeoGebra app, which we went over in the first tutorial number 1, so you can access it by simply clicking on it. And before we get started, I just wanted to show you a few features that you might find useful. So you can always move the grid to the left, to the right, depending on how much of the graph or the equation you want to see. And other things that you probably want to actually explore, and again, explore on your own. It's a very interesting and fun way to actually discover new things and learn. So another thing that you can do is you see this little icon at the top right hand corner where there is a triangle and a circle. So if you click on it, you will have access to the settings, and this is where you go if you want to change the way that your grid would look. So you can change the color of the grid. You can change the grid to have access or not. So for example, here, this is the grid that we have chosen, and we can choose different types of grids. And we can also change how the axis look like. So what color we want the background to be, what color we want the axis to be, what shape, etc., etc. So usually I like to have arrows on both sides of the axis, and for the color, let's change it just for fun so that we can see what happens in this case. So I'm going to change this to color, let's put it this way, let's change it to a blue. And as you can see, the axis now changed to color blue. You can also change the labeling style. You may want to make it bold if you wish, or italic. And you may want to show the navigation bar for construction shapes. We're not doing construction shapes now. Or you can change the background color, which I find it kind of cool actually here on GeoGebra. I'm just gonna try to change it to a color that is not too crazy. Here we go. Let me try this one. Oh, okay, so that's good enough. And show mouse coordinates actually will show you what the coordinates are at any point where you are landing your marker or your pen on. And similarly here, you want to continue exploring by click and see what it does always. There are ticks that we can use for the axis. So some people like them equal ticks, and some you want a different size ticks for every other number. Distance here will help you actually determine, what you want to label or how you want to scale the axis. Are you using radians? Are you using real numbers? Do you want to see just the positives, or do you want to see negatives or not? Do you want to show the numbers, or do you want to remove the numbers? And you can do this independently for the x and for the y axis as well. So it does the same thing. And when it comes to the grid, obviously you can choose the grid type. And I have isometric grid in here. I'm going to go to major grid lines. That's what we use most of the time. And for the line style, I'm going to close this so that we can see. So for the line style, again, we can change the y-axis to a different color. And for the line style on the grid, we can change the color from, let's say, gray to a more pronounced color. I don't really like it more pronounced colors for the grid because it makes the graph a bit too overwhelming. So I think light gray works just fine. And we just want to know the size without, making it too loud here on the grid. So if you want to actually, you can also explore to set the page or the grid here to more advanced settings as well. And the computer, remember, will give you more options for sure. So the next thing that I want to show you here, you can close the 3 vertical dots, and then you can set what you want what you want GeoGebra to do. So do you want it to use it as a calculator to graph? Do you want to graph in 3D? Do you want a spreadsheet? So this is what it does for you. So do you want a spreadsheet? And do you want to, oops, here. So I can choose a 3D in here, but I'm going to go back to where you can, by accident now, you can see how cool GeoGebra is, right? So I typed the wrong thing in here, that's why. So I'm going to go back to where we were in here. I'm going to have to close this. And 1 second, we'll have to stop this first. And I'm gonna go back to home, and let's go back home, and let's go here, and we're going to change this to our normal, equation. So we are simply drawing the graphs of functions. We're not doing the uh, vectors yet. So here we go. I am going to close this now, and we can start off with graphing. So I'm going to draw the graph of y equals x squared. So this is the graph of a parabola, and I'm going to change the color of it. It's very simple. If you want to change the color, you just tap on the graph. And when you tap on a graph, then it will actually give you the option to change the color and to change the thickness if you want. So I'm going to go with the blue or purple. Let's go purple this time. And if you want more colors, then you can explore more colors. Obviously, this is an app that we're using. It's not on the computer. Computer gives you a lot more options. So we set the color of our grid. So notice when I click on the graph, then the settings here on the top right hand corner will change as well. So you may actually name the graph. You can actually inspect a certain value of the function. And notice that because we chose that we want to trace the graph, then wherever we go, we can see the coordinates as I move the pencil on the screen. So this is the name of the graph, y equals x squared. You can drag this wherever you find it more, convenient and interesting. Now, let's move on to how we restrict the domain of this function. So to restrict the domain works slightly differently than on Desmos. So what you want to do is you enter a new space for entering an equation, and you simply type in function. And when you type in function, it will give you the options. So these are pre-coded, so the codes are set, so it's a little bit like programming. I feel so smart now. And function, I'm just kidding, because this is just, straight application. Everything is given. We just have to substitute the numbers. And I know this is function f. And the x value will start at x equals, I want the x value to be -3 and the y value to be +2. So -3, 2. So what you see now is that the function is given, and it is in green now. And look at the graph. So you see part of the graph is green and part of the graph is purple. So since we want the graph to be limited or restricted between -3 and 2, then I'll make the purple graph disappear. And the way you do it is with a magic touch. So you just click on this purple circle, and then it will turn white, and there goes the first piece of the parabola, or the section of the parabola we wanted to draw. You can use this feature to draw piecewise functions. It's very practical, easy. It's kind of fun as well, and interesting, I would say. And I hope you found the instructions useful, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.